Even though he doesn't look it, Tom Llamas has already spent a quarter century in the news business. Many jobs on and off camera have led him to where he is today. The 8th person to anchor NBC Nightly News, which you can watch weeknights right after WECT News at 6. And Tom Llamas joins us from 30 Rock in New York. Tom, welcome to the One-on-One with Jon Evans podcast.
Hey, John, so great to be with you, and thank you for those kind words in the introduction.
You've spent 4 months now as the anchor of NBC Nightly News and the managing editor as well. What's it been like with your name on that program?
It's been incredible, John. You know, I work with, I think, the best team in this business, and I get to two really impactful shows. Nightly News, which, as you know, for me is the gold standard at night for NBC News, on at 6:30 on the East Coast and across this country. Millions of viewers tuning in, you know, hoping to get the news of the day, but also learn something about our country and our world, making sure they're getting the truth like we deliver every single night. And then Top Story, which goes right after our streaming show from 7 to 8 o'clock. So living in both worlds right now, sort of, you know, broadcast, which Nightly News has been there for decades, and then the future streaming, we've been there for about 4 years now with Top Story.
Was there any feeling of, holy crap, when I got this job? I mean, you're joining legends, Lester Holt, Tom Brokaw, John Chancellor, who had their names on that program, and all of a sudden, there's Tom Llamas.
Yeah, no, all the time. It still happens to this day. I mean, you know, you got to remember, I've been doing this since I was 15. I've been watching these shows as far back as I can remember. So yes, and I personally have known Lester since I was 21. I worked with him as a production assistant. My wife worked with him as a production assistant. So these are people that I've looked up to. I mean, legends in my book, right? So now to have the same job, yeah, I mean, all the time, I'm humbled by that. It is, wow. It's a wow every single day. But the other part of that is that I'm just so dialed in. I'm so ready to do this. I enjoy doing this. I want to do this. I know I'm ready. And every day I come in excited to tackle the news, you know?
I saw your mom and dad with you on the third hour of Today last week. Your mom says you were in high school when you knew what you wanted to do and you worked toward it. So where did that want come from? It doesn't just, you're not born with it, although I think we're given gifts by the good Lord to do what we end up doing. But where did that want come from?
Yeah, look, I think when I look back, I think that growing up in that household where my parents, you know, were Cuban refugees, we watched a lot of news, and we watched news in English and Spanish. And so current events were always talked about at my house. My parents loved the newspaper. They read it cover to cover. They would talk about columnists. They would talk about coverage. If there was a big Fidel Castro interview, we'd watch it as a family, and then my parents would, you know, share their thoughts about it, and I would listen. And in our house, this was like with uncles and grandparents, and constantly talking about world events and elections and what was happening. So to me, growing up, to sort of become an informed citizen, it started very young for me. And my parents have always instilled that in me, that you had to know what was going on. You had to know who was running for office. You had to know history, because I think since they lost their country, they wanted to make sure that me and my brother were always informed. And it wasn't like, you know, there was homework at night, but it was just something they grew up with because they knew how important it was. They took none of that for granted. They didn't take free information, the free press, for granted, because they knew it was sort of integral to having a democracy. Because they saw it firsthand, they lived it.
You can hear my entire interview with Tom Llamas of NBC Nightly News right now on the One-on-One with Jon Evans podcast. It's a free download on all major podcast apps. There are also links to listen inside this story that you'll see on the WECT News app.